So this section talks about forgiveness. She says forgiveness is a tricky thing in the way that apologies can be. Are you apologizing because it makes you feel better, or because it will make the other person feel better? Are you sorry for what you've done, or are you simply trying to placate the other person who believes you should be sorry for the thing you feel completely justified in having done? Who is the apology for? And I think this is a fairly pertinent thing to me. I think I've been working with forgiveness for a while now, and my own sense of it is that it's a very powerful tool, and forgiveness, really seen in the right spirit of it, is never really about the other person. It's about the fact that you are carrying hurt and anger and bitterness and resentment, and it's learning to let go of that energy. And it's not about forgetting the incident or condoning what happened or saying it's all right. It's not about that. It's really about the energy that's blocking you in your life, and to allow that energy to dissipate. And with the dissipation of that energy, newer things come to the fore, even if the person that you had this really difficult relationship. And I found that with some people since in the last few months of my life, particularly with my brother, for instance. I think we had a very difficult time over many years, but particularly during the time that my mother was ill, and she was nearing her end, and we fought quite badly at that point in time. And I think part of my shift in over the last year that happened was my first recognition that something was happening to me which was positive, was my desire to meet my brother again. And it wasn't a very difficult thing for me to do. I could just write to him and say, hey, I'd like to meet you for breakfast, would you like to come? And he said yes, and we met. But I know that internally it needed something else to happen. I needed to work through that sense of bitterness and anger that I was holding, which was preventing me from being able to reach out. And sometimes that bitterness and anger that you feel is not necessarily directed at the person. It's just what's sitting there like a big block. And in my own case, it was really a kind of self-loathing that had sort of grabbed me. And it's very hard to relate to somebody when you don't like yourself, when you don't like to inhabit the body that you have, and you are very uncomfortable with just being with yourself. And so when I worked through that, and when I found that I liked being who I was, I began to like life again. I began to love life again. I began to experience breath again, and the sensation that it brought to me, and to just feel alive again. Then things just changed. Things changed where I was not feeling that blocked, and I could reach out to my brother. So it's interesting how forgiveness can happen if you see it as an energetic thing rather than something that you say with words. Some of the practices, forgiveness meditations, do have words that allow you to maybe move in, but really I think you could use them if they work for you. I've used them sometimes, but and sometimes I don't use them, and I really just look to see, sit with that energy, what I've learned about what is there in the body, sit with it and allow it to pass. And I think with the dissolving of that kind of hard energy that you hold within yourself, there's a softening that happens naturally. And with that softening, it's possible to relate with people again. Firstly with yourself, because you begin to see that you like life and you want to live again. And I think being able to relate with another person is a natural expression of that life energy. So I think if we get out of our way, as she suggested, if we allow ourselves to get out of the way, then life will do its own work. It will reach out. It will allow you to love again. And I would wish that for you.